Probably at some point in the last few days, you must have come across this face. That's Dr. Goobie, a former top neurosurgeon who, at the height of his career, gave it all up and went to live in the mountains, and decided to make a video for YouTube explaining a bit about his decision. In a nearly 50-minute outpouring, which reached the incredible mark of over 10 million views in less than a month, the former doctor let out the anguish he was feeling, bringing truths that certainly shook the world of medicine, and that little by little will shake the way we pursue our health. But going a little further, I would say that Goobie's outpouring challenges us to look at the world with suspicion, to understand that behind every human action, there is an interest being defended. With all this in mind, I ask, who should we trust? Goobie dedicated almost 20 years of his life to medicine, spending 10 years studying and preparing at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, one of the most respected universities in the world, and 10 years as a neurosurgeon. His impressive resume seems odd when we look at his current status. After all, what could make a guy like that give up everything he had built to be there, recording a video, unemployed, alone in the mountains, and covered in mosquitoes?
There are a lot of mosquitoes.
It's no wonder his video went viral on social media. Everyone wanted to know what this man went through to make such a crazy decision.
Why is someone doing something that most people would never do, and they really don't understand why I would do it?
Basically, what happened to him was disappointment. Dedicated and always wanting to improve his skills, Goobie put a lot of pressure on himself to solve the problems of the patients who came to him. A goal he believed could be achieved by reaching perfection in his surgeries. However, as the years went by, he realized that the outcome of his surgeries was not directly linked to how well he performed his work. There was some other determining factor, a factor that, until a certain point, he couldn't identify.
I was able to help a lot of people, but there were many more people I couldn't help.
No matter how perfectly he did his job, and even if the surgery itself was a success, that didn't determine whether the patient would leave cured. He performed surgeries to solve pain in the neck, back, and nerves in the arms and legs. And even though he mastered the tools and everything within a surgeon's reach to treat his patients, the surgeries were unable to put an end to the problems. Some patients felt better, others felt the same, and there were even some who felt worse after surgery. And as someone who was there with the intention of helping people, Goobie started to feel frustrated.
I was able to relieve some suffering, but I saw much more suffering that I couldn't relieve, even if I tried to do the surgery.
I like that he even makes an interesting analogy so we can understand in a more practical way how the surgeries he performed worked. He says it's like if you have a house and on the roof of that house there's a leak that makes rainwater run down the wall. Naturally, over time, the water would deteriorate that wall, making the problem obvious. And that's when his surgeries would come in. It was as if he would go into that house, remove the moldy insulation and tear down the wall. Then he would put in brand new insulation and rebuild that wall. However, notice that despite all this procedure, the leak in the roof still wouldn't be fixed.
I could perform a perfect surgery and some people would get better, some would stay the same, and some would get worse, even if I performed exactly the same perfect surgery.
And even more impressive than the different effects of the surgery on each person was when he started to see some patients improve even before performing the surgery.
When I scheduled the surgery a month in advance, sometimes some patients would call a week before the surgery saying, "Hi doctor, my nerve pain is gone. Do I still need to have the surgery?"
Imagine what must have been going through his mind. Imagine the guy starting to question the effectiveness of a procedure he spent his whole life learning to perform. Suddenly, he realizes that everything he believed in and worked so hard to achieve was a lie. There was no way it could be different. The guy was devastated, but he didn't stop there. He tried to understand his patients' daily lives, to understand their routines and habits, trying to find common points among those who had positive results as well as those who had negative ones.
I started asking patients everything that came to my mind. What do you usually do? What's your job? What do you eat? What do you drink? Do you smoke? Do you use illegal drugs? Do you have many friends? How is your family? Are you stressed? Do you sleep well?
After having already interviewed a good number of patients and with enough data to start drawing conclusions from his research, he soon identified patterns that were repeated among those who showed improvement. In general, Goobie's list of best practices doesn't have anything very different from what we're already used to seeing as healthy lifestyle habits. But anyway, here, I'll briefly list the recurring habits among those who showed improvement. According to him, the most important thing is the diet, especially low-salt intake and eating unprocessed foods. He also reports that these patients had a more plant-based diet. He also discusses staying hydrated with healthy fluids, the value of exercise, outdoor activities, and the benefits of sweating during the day, highlighting an advantage for people who frequented saunas or lived in hot places. Social aspects also come into play here. Maintaining close relationships with family, friends, or other loved ones. Quality of sleep, so getting about 8 hours of sleep a day, and also stress management. He says that these people had less stressful lives, or at least made an effort to relieve their stressful routines in some way. And finally, there are some more well-known things like not smoking or low alcohol consumption. That's what he says.
If you do all these things, you heal yourself. When the body heals, it doesn't just heal a worn-out joint in the neck or back. It heals everything. It heals the worn-out joint in the neck and the back. It heals skin problems, it heals digestive tract problems, it heals hair problems. When the body heals, it heals everything. This actually became a big problem.
But wait, why a big problem? Didn't the guy just report a discovery about how to heal people? Yeah, that's right. Here's the real gold in Goobie's message. Because his discovery isn't in a lot of people's interest. And for a simple reason. Our medical system is organized in a way that medicine needs to be much more curative than preventive.
The hospital must generate profit and grow financially. And the problem is, if you find a way to help patients heal, and that way doesn't include a pill or surgery, well, then the hospital and the doctor will be in big trouble.
When you're a doctor who has dedicated years of your life and most likely a lot of money to one day be able to practice medicine, it becomes very difficult to accept that there is a way to cure patients that doesn't go directly through a hospital or a specialized professional. Because this not only in a way disqualifies what this doctor fought so hard to achieve, but also threatens his job.
If you find a way to help people heal and you can't charge for it, well, then you've just lost your job.
And here the intention is not to specifically condemn doctors, especially because I see many of them as victims in this situation. The aim is to challenge the entire system built around medicine, and to remember that even though its goal is to save lives, medicine is still a business and therefore needs to be profitable. The problem is that things get dangerous when we reach the point where saving lives becomes a secondary concern.
I didn't know what to do. I was doing a job I no longer believed in. That's how I made a living, and I didn't know how to do any other job. At that time, my wife wasn't working. I was the only provider for the family.
The situation Goobie was in shows how complicated it is to go against structures that are already established. And it also illustrates how getting involved with these institutions ends up tying you down and creating a certain dependence on them. Which makes me think that maybe the big lesson in all of this is that when analyzing any action, achievement, or creation by man, we can't ignore the interests that are being defended. Interests that, hidden behind well-established and organized structures, are not obvious at a first level of understanding. And this involves practically everything we interact with in our daily lives.
The matrix is everywhere. You can see it when you look out the window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It's the world shown to you so you don't see the truth.
So when we look at Goobie's journey, we see the story of a young man who believed he had found in medicine a way to fulfill his purpose of saving, or at least improving, people's lives. But at some point, he realized that he was inside a system whose interests were not the same as his.
I really felt that the focus of medicine wasn't in the right place. It wasn't about healing, it was about making money with surgeries, pills, and scans, anything that brought profit.
I believe that it's unlikely that Goobie or anyone else who goes around exposing truths that harm powerful institutions can actually bring down these systems corrupted by the interests of a minority. But I see in these messages the power to transform our thinking and even encourage us to develop what is one of our rarest and most fundamental abilities in a world where almost everything happens because of a struggle of interests. Critical thinking.